So you guys really liked my Miiverse video. I would have initially been talking to an audience of about 60 people, yet this thing blew up beyond my expectations. Now I know this is very cliche, but I really do gotta thank you guys for watching that video. It really means a lot. But I'm not gonna dwell on that. Let's just get into some new spicy Miiverse content. Based on the sheer number of comments I got on that video, I learned quite a few new things about Miiverse, whether that be connected to the topics I covered, or even stuff that wasn't included on the original Iceberg. As a result, I'm gonna start this video off by correcting some of the more noticeable mistakes I made in that first video, and then I'm gonna follow up with my very own Miiverse Iceberg, which includes bits of lore that weren't discussed in the original video. I'd still say the original Iceberg contains the meat of the Miiverse lore, which is why I'd recommend watching that one first. Think of this as more of a supplementary video. But without further ado, let's just get started. Probably my most notable mistake in that first video was saying Le Perle de Miiverse, again, probably butchered that pronunciation, is Spanish. I'm sorry guys, I lied, it's actually French. I don't know why I didn't know this. I should have Google translated. Literally, the YouTuber Octoboy has French in the channel description. I just should have looked into this one further. Another thing I got a lot of comments on was Meme Senpai. I kind of made him out to be like a shitposter troll, when more or less he was a shitposter, but a high quality one. I unfortunately couldn't find any of his drawings anywhere, but apparently he made high quality art of memes that were popular at the time, which was around 2017, the final year that Miiverse was up. The reason I said he became a troll towards the end is more or less the drama he got involved in. And this leads me into throwing users into the trash. This was the specific drama that both Meme Senpai and his brother, Meme Sensei, were involved in. It boils down to them drawing themselves throwing other users into the trash. A lot of the users who were thrown into the trash felt betrayed by this, and thus the whole community kinda turned on the brothers. Meme Sensei was soon banned, and Meme Senpai had to apologize. I brought up Arian Cordy and PF2M's contributions to Miiverse clones, but I also think it's worth noting that they hacked Miiverse itself on multiple occasions. Additionally, to add to the lore, they were both involved in some pretty heavy controversy. PF2M had a relationship with a minor over the internet, with some very unepic artwork of the two. And Arian Cordy was found to possess child bootleg Chesterstone accounts. That's it. That's all he had.
I can't breathe! I think I got the coronavirus, bitch!
And was even accused of stalking a girl who was a user on one of the clone sites. PF2M was responsible for the Final Day hack, which destroyed New Super Luigi U's American community so badly that everyone had to move to the European version of that community. French MK7 yeah-bombing weebs. The name kind of covers everything. This refers to a prominent group of French users in the Mario Kart 7 community. They had anime-style Miis and were involved in yeah-bombing. Big Dabber refers to a post made in the New Super Luigi U community, which pictured Jeremy Clarkson dabbing with the caption, Big Dabber. Somebody sent me this, and thank you. Thank you so much. Splatoon politics specifically references to how political the Splatoon community got during the 2016 election. Another thing I made a mistake on in my first video is that Chris Chan transitioned into Christine Chandler by the time she was using Miiverse. I admittedly didn't put a ton of thought into this, and I really should have done a little more research. I kind of just assumed everybody knew what NSFW meant, but for those who don't know, NSFW stands for Not Safe for Work, which can include violent or graphic content, or mainly in Miiverse's case, porn. I covered Yeah Angel making the most popular New Super Luigi U post, but also crucial is the fact that this user was a major yeah bomber. The New Super Luigi U community and the Zelda community, for whatever reason, kept the original layout instead of adapting the play journal entries of the redesign in 2015. This possible oversight is what allowed these communities to become such a shitposter's paradise. So now I got all the major corrections out of the way. Get your scuba gear, get your gas masks, and get ready to take another dive into the Miiverse Iceberg. Stamps were a feature that could be used on specific Wii U software that allowed users to, well, put stamps in their drawings. Mario Kart 8, Super Mario 3D World, and Yoshi's Woolly World were some of the more popular games that allowed users to add stamps to their posts. Stamps were rewarded for finding collectibles in the latter two games, which incentivized players to go for 100% so they can use them all. As with a majority of Miiverse, a lot of the posts using stamps were just a bunch of fetuses spamming whatever they got, but sometimes there'd be a pretty cool collage. And then you'd see Mario with a fart cloud. I didn't forget those. Animal Crossing Plaza was a Wii U exclusive software that released in August of 2013. It took posts from the Animal Crossing community on Miiverse, and it showed them to the people using the software. Think of it as a more unique interface to explore the Animal Crossing community, though this software was abandoned early as it closed just a little over a year after its release. Why Can't Metroid Crawl is the magnum opus of bad Miiverse posts. This legendary post was made by PolyU in the Super Metroid community, and it quickly became a meme. Some people suspect it could be a troll, as calling a video game character by the name of the title, even when it's not their actual name, has been a pretty popular joke for years. But the fact that this post was removed after gaining popularity could hint at the fact that this was a small child who didn't know any better. Even more absurd is the fact that Nintendo seemingly referenced this in a tweet, which stated that both Samus and the Metroid couldn't crawl. Iwata Tribute refers to the fact that former Nintendo president Satoru Iwata passed away on July 11th, 2015. This was in the middle of the Miiverse lifespan, and many people would make posts commemorating his death around this time. Bad Miiverse Posts was a series that was hosted by Red Falcon Games, which, like a lot of the other series I covered in the first video, just covered the all-time greats of Miiverse. To my knowledge, this is one of the more popular series in this format. Yeah button punctuation refers to the fact that the yeah button changes punctuation based on the expression that the original poster selects for their me. It's one of those weird things that I kinda subconsciously knew, as I would remember seeing question marks, yet it just never really fully hit me that it happened. It's kinda weird. I'm probably just blind. That's on Miiverse is, get this, another Miiverse post highlight series. This particular series was made by Bradley News 11, and it featured live action as opposed to other series just reading the post on the screen. Add color to drawings refers to Miiverse users' demand to add color to drawings, as drawings could only be done in black and white. The color red alone could have exponentially increased the memeable content, so it's no surprise that Nintendo never added this. Guess they really didn't learn their lesson with Mario Maker 2. For some reason, one of the most popular characters I've seen people roleplay as on Miiverse was Rosalina. This makes sense as Rosalina is one of the more popular Mario characters, and this character just has a lot of fanboys and fangirls. Whether the Rosalina account was drawing or roleplaying, they were generally pretty popular, and there certainly was no shortage of them. White Ink Confirmed is a drawing made in the Splatoon community that has some glaring sexual implications behind it. This post is most popular for one of the replies it got. Sir Roger humbly requests that the author should, quote, draw her giving birth. That's it. Segment's done. Draw yourself in the comments refers to a Miiverse trend in which, you guessed it, Miiverse users would draw themselves in the comments. But like, look, we don't care about the trend. This one. Do you need me to explain this joke for you? Do you not understand the reference being made here? Wii U Chat was a user featured on Giga Gambi. His name was Wii U Chat. His description was Wii U Chat. Everything he said was Wii U Chat. To this day, we do not know if he ever got that fateful Wii U Chat. Out of all the requests Sakurai gets for characters to add to Smash Bros., the Powerpuff Girls are certainly one of them. The Powerpuff Girls were a popular request among Harvard graduates on Miiverse, even more so for the people in the philosophy field of study, such as Craig. Red and White ink is based off some conversation I heard around the first Splatoon's release, in which people were questioning as to why there was no red or white ink in the game. I think it's pretty obvious that Nintendo didn't want parents to think that the family-friendly game was about shooting blood in cum. I guess Splatoon was a big enough name by the time the sequel released that they just didn't care anymore. Star Wars Episode 7 spoilers comes from when The Force Awakens was recently released and many people would spoil the movie. Particularly when, I'm gonna spoil it, if you haven't seen it already, just skip ahead or something. But particularly when Han Solo dies. This one hit close to home for me as me and my friend set up a troll account and we did just that. I unfortunately don't have the original, but I tried to recreate it to the best of my abilities. Even though I'd never witnessed it myself, I hear the Scribblenauts community was a lot like its own clan as opposed to just a wide open community to where people could discuss. It's not like the community was actually designed to be closed, it's just a lot of the people who frequently posted on here became close friends and would eventually unite on Discord after Miiverse's closing. There was also apparently a plan among Scribblers to riot outside Nintendo headquarters after they announced that they were shutting down Miiverse, but there's no evidence of people actually going through with the plan. Little Tom is known for one particular post, which reads, all the black people, or
Newport,
as I like to call them, get off this community because it's for white people only. Understand? 'Cause if you don't, I will make black people slaves again. Needless to say, this post was removed very quickly, but not quickly enough to prevent us from getting screenshots of it. It's unclear whether Little Tom was just being edgy and trolling, or was legitimately serious with this, but either way, this will always live on in the bowels of Miiverse. Blarms is a classic Chris Chan drama. The word Blarms comes from Blue Arms, which refers to Chris Chan's protest towards Sonic's new design for Sonic Boom. Out of literally anything else to be upset about in this game, Chris Chan's #1 concern of 2014 was Sonic's arms changing from tan to blue. To be fair, this drama extends outside the realm of Miiverse. It involves a lot of posts on other social medias in which Chris would protest this change, and it doesn't even take an avid Christorian to know that this cause led Chris to vandalizing a Sonic Boom display at GameStop, subsequently leading to an arrest after she maced an employee. The reason I put this on here is that yes, Chris actually did some of the protesting on Miiverse. I'd say it fits the rabbit hole. T-Man was an ordinary user. That is, until the day he picked up Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. Simply put, he began posting his findings in which that his game was horribly corrupted. It became known as the character distortion glitch for obvious reasons, and a lot of people took notice to it. What makes the situation stranger is that T-Man himself actually claimed to have bought another copy in which the same thing occurred, so something had to be wrong with his hardware. But he actually claimed that all of his other games worked perfectly fine. To this day, we have no idea what was wrong with his copy of Smash Wii U, or if this glitch is even replicable in any other copies. And his account was banned by Nintendo. Because of course it was. The Happy Mask Salesman interview refers to an interview that took place on Miiverse shortly after the release of Majora's Mask 3D. As opposed to being just a straightforward developer interview, the interviewee actually turned out to be the Happy Mask Salesman himself. Aside from that, it was a pretty straightforward interview, with the Happy Mask Salesman giving some insight behind the game's development, as well as sharing some tidbits about the game. For Kid Icarus Uprising screenshots being removed, it involved users abusing the system's AR capabilities to show stuff that are outside of the game. All a user had to do was use an AR card and point their 3DS at something, and they could upload it as a screenshot on Miiverse. There was no way of automatically censoring stuff on this, so Miiverse admins just thought it'd be easier to remove screenshot privileges altogether, as people started taking pictures of inappropriate stuff, if you really couldn't believe that. If you can't just smell all the pornographic images coming through those 3DS screenshots, where have you been this whole time? The Miiverse Ghost was sort of an urban legend on Miiverse. It revolved around a particular account that could give multiple yas on a single post, something that normal users could not do. As this thread explains it, the Miiverse ghost was once a mortal girl who got permabanned from her Wii U and died on the same day. Oh god, that's gotta suck. But anyways, her vengeful spirit has come to possess her Wii U and make this account in which she can do very illegal stuff. Like, yeah, posts multiple times. Come on, even the Dream Team image glitch was funnier than this. Apparently the Miiverse ghost could do stuff like delete your save data, or even get you banned without letting you have the fun first. But it appears that she was mostly revered as some kind of celebrity on Miiverse. This might have actually spooked some people though, as the internet has taught us one thing. You don't gotta be competent horror to scare dumb children. Awesomener was not a popular user by any means, but he was one that was involved in quite a lot of fights. Even if you don't specifically know Awesomener, I feel like you have at least seen somebody like him. Especially around 2015 when FNAF's popularity with kids was at an all-time high. Awesomener is your basic FNAF kid. He got into fights with people who didn't agree with him, and he kind of developed his own hate base. I feel like every site on the planet has its Awesomeners. I already mentioned Shaq's Day Out when talking about Miiking and Derp Jacob in my original video, but Shaq's Day Out as a whole was left relatively unexplained. Basically, it's a Wattpad story written by 3 Miiverse users in which they would come up with original characters to troll roleplays with. Now, how original are we talking? We're talking JonTron, we're talking Mr. Crocker, Shaquille O'Neal, obviously, Terry Crews, Woodman, Markiplier, Sheen, JFK, everybody was here. Smash Bros has 70 plus fighters. I'm not even gonna count this. Miiking lived in Yuck Yuck Hut for years. How does a man survive those conditions? Now I don't know what the plot was about, but I'm sure it was awesome. Paper Mario Flowers ripoff Undertale. Admittedly, I don't have any proof on this one, but I read it in a comment and I thought it sounded hilarious. Plus, it's really not that unbelievable knowing what the Undertale fandom was when the game just came out. If you aren't aware, when Undertale was just released, the fandom had a very annoying habit of referencing anything that could even remotely resemble Undertale to Undertale. Think JoJo fans, but somehow worse. Paper Mario has flowers. You know what other game has flowers? Undertale. It doesn't take any stretching to think that some kid would look at the older graphics, then look at the newer graphics and say, this game just stole from Undertale. I just hate how I can figure that out. The Miiverse debug menu refers to incidents which occurred around the time the Wii U just came out. One user in particular claimed to have hit X above the network exit button on Miiverse, and claimed that they accidentally hacked into the Miiverse debug menu. It contained different lists of admins and developers, and even gave off a few mock-up titles of communities that were planned, at least potentially. Yoshi Land Wii U was most likely the precursor to the community for Yoshi's Woolly World, while Metal Gear Solid would never get a title on the Wii U. Payton was an infamous yeah bomber, which would follow people and expect follows back, except he would later unfollow people. So basically your average yeah bomber. It was apparently a scam, even though you really weren't losing anything. Trevor is another one-post wonder. Well, two-post wonder. In the first post, Trevor claims he's looking for a sexy girlfriend, and in which Noah responds to him that he should not ask for that, and he gives this famed response. The name of the game is your mom, and let's just say I'm already playing it. The second post involves him asking for friends, in which someone asks what he likes. Your mom. That's Trevor, everyone. Grooming is a little bit of a cop-out since it kind of happens everywhere online, but this is definitely prevalent in Miiverse's history. I talked about Sherry in particular in the last video, but I think it's worth mentioning how Sherry wasn't the only one. I haven't found any records of users other than Sherry, but I've had some people telling me about Miiverse groomers in the comments of my first video. It's not a stretch to say that any social media with a large platform of kids will unfortunately attract these types of people. Pushes You Onto My Bed is an excellent name, and you'll be glad to hear that it is a roleplay that occurred on Miiverse. Luckily we have a Reddit post that saved this entire masterful dialogue. I'm not going to read all of it, but basically it starts from the perspective of Ted, in which he pushes Ludwig onto his bed. Ludwig initially accepts this, except Ted starts going fast, asking him to take off his shirt, licking, then just police get involved. Giorno's here too. There's no story here, it's just climax. At least we get the line, "Who wants some Ted now?" Dominic Mario Wii U refers to an instance in which the Miiverse user Dominic compliments the rain effects in the video game for the Nintendo Wii U Pikmin 3. He makes posts about this one particular topic 3 times, which resembles the user Mario Wii U, who would compliment every game's water effects on his Miiverse account. Miiverse is purgatory. Sure is. Lost content. Don't get too excited, this one's an absolute cop-out. What I find so interesting about all these iceberg images is that sometimes we might have our own icebergs, particularly on the bottom end of things. Especially when it's community related like Miiverse, you might have experienced something that no one else has, or seen something that you haven't heard talked about. The point is, some of this stuff is too obscure for even the bottom of the iceberg. Some of this is known by just 1 or 2 people, and I think that's kind of the beauty of it. If you ever want to feel special about yourself, you could be the one guy who saw Meme Lord 95 make his 420 Shrek ball cock torture post. Sorry, it kind of went all dumbass for a sec, but basically what I'm saying is, if you experience something on Miiverse, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I love reading this stuff. And as always, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if I missed something, and I'm good at ending videos now.